So this webinar is all about a broad overview of metro construction, basically viaduct and practical challenges which are supposed to come while executing a metro project in urban or semi-urban areas. This is the content which we are going to discuss on this particular webinar. The very first thing is that what is metro rail and what are criteria which government of India or any government is adopting to have a metro rail in a particular city. Second topic we will cover what are benefits of metro rail, means why government want to build a metro rail network in India. Third topic, we are going to cover a typical metro rail systems. What all metro rail systems available in India and abroad, and what all are their basic parameters and various technical parameters which make them unique from each other. Fourth topic, we are going to cover a standard cross section of a station and viaduct pier. Pier is something on which metro basically runs. Fifth topic, we will cover that what all areas we should keep in our mind while finalizing the alignment or finalizing the route of metro project in urban or semi-urban areas. Sixth topic, we are going to cover that what all design parameters and drawing parameters involved to design a metro project. Other than that, what all parameters are there basically belongs to execution, like test pile, foundation, pier shaft, pier cap, pier pedestal, and seismic arrestor, superstructure, and plinth beam and fixing of rail. So all these 8 parameters basically shows how a metro project will start from zero and how it will complete. So now we will come to our webinar. What is a metro or what is a metro rail? Metro rail is a kind of modern urban rail transit system which is basically operated by electrical system, which basically the use of metro rail is to decongest the cities and make a friendly environment in our cities. So there are two type of basic metro systems available in India. First is OHG based, that is overhead electrical system, in which metro rail or rolling stock will get power from overhead electrical wire, just like Indian Railway. The second system which is available in India is third rail, in which a plinth is casted near metro rail. Whatever plinth rails are there nearby, that a plinth will cast and metro will get powered from that plinth. Second thing, metro can be elevated or underground based on ground condition, based on the city condition, and basically based on budget of government. And third thing, as metro is having a dedicated protected right of way, so it is the most efficient and most quick and faster transportation system available in present day. So this is all about what is a metro project. Metro. Now, what is the basic criteria that how government will decide that this city want a metro project or not, whether this city is eligible for metro project or not? The most basic criteria in which every detailed report will run is 40,000 to 80,000 ppHPD. ppHPD stand for persons per hour per direction. Likewise, highways, there are different surveys which will be happen to adopt a metro rail systems in a city. So the most basic criteria is this only. If we'll do survey, first of all, we will check that what is the traffic count in the particular direction. If the traffic count is in between 40,000 to 80,000, then that city is eligible for metro project. This is the basic criteria. Other than that, there are various of 87 various criterias by which a city will decide, by which government of India will decide whether that city is eligible for metro project or not. But basic criteria is this only. If this criteria will not satisfy, then that city will be not eligible for to get a metro project, as per new metro policy, which is revised in 2017. Now we'll discuss what all various benefits to adopt a metro rail system to a city. The very first and important benefit is time saving. If you want to travel 17, 18 or 20 kilometers in a city, minimum it will take 40, 45 minutes or 1 hour. but by the means of metro you can able to cover the distance by 10 or 20 minutes. So it's a time saving. Second thing, cost saving. Third thing, metro is the most efficient and environmentally mode of transportation available in India. Fourth thing, it is 100% safe and reliable. Fifth thing, it will reduce the traffic intensity during peak hours in our roads and various areas of city. Third thing, after developing a metro corridor, the development of nearby infrastructure is essential and also it's mandatory. Automatically, the infrastructure of that particular area will develop, which will generate revenue to local peoples and also other peoples also. Seventh thing, metro, after adopting a metro system, a city will able to get creations of job. This is the last benefit of metro. Now, this is a type of metro systems which are available in India and all over world. First is heavy metro. The comparison in this in various metro system we will do in next slide. So this is just an overview. So these all the metro rail systems available in India. First is heavy metro. Second is medium metro, which is most commonly used in India, like Chennai metro or Delhi metro or Mumbai metro. It's a kind of medium metro. Third is light metro. It is under concept condition, and few cities are going to adopt this metro. Fourth is metro light or metro neo. This is unique concept of metro in which a bus type metro will be run over viaduct, and if that city required a metro, proper metro, medium metro or heavy metro in near future, that viaduct can be used to convert it into heavy type of or medium type. Third is monorail. This is the one project which is executed on monorail is Mumbai Metro Line 1. So this is the comparison in various parameters of different metros. So we will start from length of platform. In the case of heavy metros, the length of platform is 185 to 210 meters. In the case of light metro, it is 140 meters, which can able to accommodate a rolling stock and 4 coaches. Light metro is having 80 meters of platform, which is almost 75% of our medium metro. It can able to accommodate 3 coaches. And metro neo is also 80 meters, but metro neo will run on tires, so its construction cost is less. Second, we will discuss about capita per kilometer. How much cost is involved? The basic parameters in a developing country like India, cost is a very important factor. So for constructing heavy metros per kilometer, 35 crores per kilometer will be the cost of a heavy metro. 32 crores per kilometer is the cost of medium metro. Light metro can be constructed on 25 crores, and metro light can be constructed with 17 crores of per kilometer cost. So O&M is operation maintenance, the cost involved for running the train and maintain of that infrastructure which is constructed for the turn. Basically, it is depend upon number of passengers traveling in that metro coaches for heavy, medium and light metros. For metro neo, usually it is 50% of normal metro. The deck width of viaduct. Deck width stand to the top surface of viaduct on which metro runs. So in the case of heavy metro, it is 9 to 10 meters. In the case of medium metro, it is 8.5 to 9 meters. In the case of light metros, it is 8.5 to 9 meters. And in the case of metro light, it is 7 to 8 meters. Now we will discuss about speed, because while talking about metros, speed is a important criteria. So for all heavy metro, medium metro and light metro, the speed will be same, that is 80 kilometers per hour. For metro neo, it is 60 kilometers per hour. Minimum radius. Radius is something stand for the curve which is going to introduce in metro viaduct. Like in a heavily congested areas, we'll take an example of Mumbai. If we'll go to old Mumbai, there is too much congestion. If we'll go to Chennai, if tomorrow government of India will plan that they want a metro for Ritchie Street also. So that area is so much congested that straight viaduct is not possible. So because of that, this minimum radius criteria came. So for the case of heavy metro, it is 120 meters. For the case of medium metro, it is 120 meters. In the case of light metros, it is 60 meters. And in the case of metro neo, it is 25 meters. So maximum gradient, the vertical slope, which can be provided for heavy metros and medium metro is 4%. In the case of light metros, it is 6%. In the case of metro light, it is 6%. Alignment. prominently, both are grade separators only. Grade separators stand for something which is above ground, elevated from the ground. So all type of metros except undergrounds are located on grade separators only. Basically, elevated and underground station both are belongs to concourse also, means both stations having two layers of stations. One is on concourse end, which is 5.5 meters height from road, and one is on platform levels on which particular trains will run. Access to stations, elevators, and lifts will be provided. In the case of Metro Neo, because it's a cost saving metro, so no elevators and lift will be provided. We have to use stairs. So auxiliary substation, ASS is mandatory, and for Metro Neo, ASS is not mandatory. Firefighting system is mandatory for heavy, medium, and light metros. For Neo Metro, it is not mandatory. So this is a comparison of various metro systems available in India. Although the comparison is very wide, other than this 12 topic, there are many topics, but this is just an overview. So we have covered 12 topics. So now we will come on the technical session of metro viaduct. So you can able to see two photos on your computer screen. So these are the typical section of normal pier and station pier. The pier which you can able to see on the left side of your screen is a normal pier which contain pile cap. This is pile, this is pile cap, this is pier shaft, this is pier cap, this is pedestal and bearing, and then segment or superstructure. Now, whatever photo you can able to see on the right side of your computer screen, that is a typical section of station viaduct pier in which we are going to construct a station. In this is pile cap, pier shaft. This is the from station will start from this concourse level. Again, this pier shaft and this is pier table. This is platform level where train will run, and this is a platform. This is a typical station pier in which this is pile cap. This is a pier first lift, or you can say pier shaft up to concourse level. This is your concourse level, which is 1.9 meter height. Above this is pier shaft and pier table. This is superstructure with platform pier arms in which train will run, and this is part of platform. So now we will discuss about the factors or the things which we will keep while finalizing the alignment of metro. The very first and the most important factor which we'll keep in mind while finalization of alignment is that metro should cover the maximum limits of city. This is the first and very most important factor. The second thing, the alignment should be like that it should involve minimum cost. The third thing, it is easily accessible to everyone or people staying nearby. Fourth thing, minimum loss of government and private properties. So the alignment of metro should be like that it should not enter into private property until and unless there is no other options available to get the metros from our existing road, our existing article and subarticle street. Because if we'll enter into private and government property, the cost of metro will increase. There will be huge disturbance in local public life. The fifth, integration with government and private establishments. It is also one of the most important factors which we should keep while finalizing a metro alignment. Whatever there are different mode of transportations available in various cities like BRTS, Indian Railways, normal roads, normal buses. So the metro should integrate with all these type of establishments. Suppose a metro is crossing nearby a railway station, so it should integrate with that particular railway station, or it is crossing with any BRT, so it should integrate with this BRT. Fifth, minimum disturbance to environment. So nowadays, this is also one of the most important factor. Every infrastructure project is engaged with some environmental issues. So our alignment should be in line with our environmental norms so that the disturbance in environment, cutting of trees and other various factors should be minimized. So design and drawing of the project. So how after finalization of alignment, the tender will be called, the tender will be awarded to a particular company. Okay. Now after that, what all first step involved for design and drawing of the project? The very first thing is that covering of ROW. ROW is right of way in which our metro viaduct is going to construct. The very first thing is that to protect that ROW, we will erect the barricading boards stating that this is our ROW and we are going to work inside this ROW so that the pedestrians, the road users should not disturbed by any means because of this metro construction. Third, utility trenching for utility identifications. In the case of elevated structures, as our foundation is below ground, so utility trenching and identification is very much important. It will give us a broad idea that what all utilities are present below ground. Third is geotechnical investigations. After utility trenching, geotechnical investigation will come. It will give us a broad idea that what type of strata is available below ground, whether we are supposed to go for pile foundation, in pile foundation, whether we are supposed to go for end bearing pile or friction pile, or we will go for an open foundation. After all these parameters, we will finalize our design and drawing as per geotechnical data and contract specification. So utility trenching play an important role in this, because suppose while doing utility trenching, if we found some utilities which we are not able to divert, so our design and drawing should be accommodate with that particular utilities. So this is one photo of erection of barricading boards to protect our ROW. This is the picture which shows utility trenching. You can able to see one electrical wire, one OHE wire, and one pipeline. This is the geotechnical investigation. This is a Calyx machine, which usually commonly used in India for geotechnical investigation. So now, once your design is finalized, the after finalization of design, the first thing which we are going to do, we are going to execute test piles. Test pile usually as per codal provisions, it should be a pile in a kilometer which covers two pile in which vertical test and horizontal test will be done. The basic idea of test pile is to cross check your design. You have designed one pile foundation with a particular data, so whether that data or whether that design is eligible or able to take the load which is actually going to fall during running of rolling stock and accommodating people. So we are doing test pile, which is divided into two parts. First is vertical load test and horizontal load test. The point which we should keep in mind is that our test load which we are going to apply on this test pile is 2.5% of our actual load, for which or actual load which that pile is going to save. For example, our pile is designed for 500 kgs per kilometer. So the test pile load will be around 2.5% of that 500. So basically it will stands for some 1250 tons. So vertical load test basically shows when our pile will be in loading condition, how much depression or how much consolidation or how much compaction it have. Usually as per codal provision, it should not be more than 18 mm in 24 hours. If our settlement is more than 18 mm in 24 hours, our pile will be rejected. Horizontal load test usually we will do to check the horizontal movements of pile. Okay, in this we will apply horizontal load. Usually it is 62.5 tons or 2.5 tons from your design load. It will show us that how much that particular pile can resist at this 2.5% of load. Same criteria is based on this vertical test pile criteria. Same criteria is designed for horizontal pile, 18 mm in 24 hours. If our settlement is more than this, then our pile will be rejected. Apart of this, there is one more criteria. In 24 hours, we will take a reading in an hour. If our reading is more than 0.01 mm from our last reading, then that reading should be continue till next hour. If the same reading we will got, then we will omit that reading and we will go continue. This is one typical picture of horizontal testing. You can able to see one jack is attached with a pile. This is for horizontal testing, and the pile in which reinforcement is exposed, this is for vertical testing. So now we'll come about pile work. So pile work is the most easy but most complex execution of viaduct, and the complete viaduct is basically located on this particular work only. If your foundation is okay, then you can able to cope up with every design load. So based on function, there are 5 type of pile. First is sheet pile, second is load bearing pile, third is end bearing pile, fourth is friction pile, and third is soil compaction pile. Sheet pile basically used where we required some protection to do our permanent work. For example, if we are going to execute a foundation in marine or in water, so we required sheet pile to be installed, and after that we can able to do our routine work. Usually the thickness of sheet will vary as per design. Load bearing pile, basically when the load will transfer from this viaduct shaft to this pile, the main fundamental of viaduct is that the load from superstructure will transfer to pier shaft, from pier shaft to pile cap, from pile cap to pile, and from pile to soil. But in the case where we are not able to get the strength of soil or bearing capacity of soil or rock, then we will design for load bearing pile where the complete load will be taken by pile only. That pile is known as load bearing pile. Third is end bearing pile. The pile which is kept on rock to transfer whole load to rock is known as end bearing pile. Friction pile. Friction pile, suppose we are not getting a desired bearing capacity of soil or rock at our pile level. So we will design friction pile where pile is rest with the help of friction available in soil nearby. Soil compaction pile. Soil compaction pile are not much in used. This type of pile basically used to improve a ground. Usually if we'll have a loose soil, there we will pump some sand and we'll make the soil compaction pile.